Now, maybe I can put Angela to work for me. Could you use the wireless mic up here? Does anybody have any questions on realignment specifically?
Yes, the money that Washington gives to states to assist with all of this, is that money being distributed amongst you sheriffs as it should be? In other words, is Sacramento spending some of it for something else and you men ain't seeing any of it?
We didn't get no federal funds for realignment. It is all a state program. This was, even though it was mandated by the federal government, we were forced to do the action because that was a case against the state of California. The actual realignment shift of responsibility from the state to counties was not done. There was no federal funding involved. It's all state funding.
It's, you know, years ago when they turned all the mental people loose in California, we're still not getting over that. This is kind of the things that we're getting all of our jails full of now is the mentally ill. And we need to get some help back, get the mental hospitals to take care of the problem so we can do our normal inmate and work.
There's no doubt that your largest mental health facilities in the state of California are county jails. That's what has happened. You said it yourself when many of the state facilities were shut down. Those people have to be housed somewhere when they're exhibiting the issues that they're having, and for the protection of the public. So we have, in my jail, I have probably 4 or 5 mental health clinicians on staff provided by Department of Health and Human Services with the County of Humboldt, but that are housed in my facility to deal with the mentally ill issues that we have. And I would say, and the psychotropic drugs that we are mandated to hand out to these folks. And you know, interesting thing also is some of these people that come into our facilities are already on some type of medication. Our mental health staff has to wean them off of those drugs because they are so dangerous and put them on something that's more manageable. So they're coming from the outside into our facilities already on psychotropic drugs that are already beyond what we feel safe for both the individual and for our staff working in the facility. So it is a great burden on us to deal with those mental health issues.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name's Tom Conger. My wife and I have made a study of the next county over here in Arizona, a particular guy in Humboldt County, and his first name is Joe. He's been there now for a decade, and he's been doing a lot of, well, they don't really want to go to his place. He doesn't do anything but really except make them do a lot of work. And I think by the time they leave that place, he has a pretty good not want to come back record, I understand. And I was just wondering if any of you ever heard of Joe over there in Arizona and what he does. There's a lot more I can tell you about it, but just for that, I just want to see how your sheriffology is. Thank you.
You're not saying we can't for our boys, do you?
Yeah, I think all of us are aware of Joe Pio and his tent city out there. But yes, he definitely has a reputation for making his facility a definite jail that you're not wanting to return back to.
My daughter put them in a tent in this place.
Yeah, you
don't want to come back to my jail. It's like being in a tent.
You know, Joe Arpaio in Maricopa County, Arizona, is probably one of the finest sheriffs in the United States as far as I'm concerned, because he runs one of the biggest sheriff's departments, and they've got huge crime problems where he works, and he's been, you know, he's over 80 now. And that guy was a military policeman. He was retired from the Drug Enforcement Administration. The guy has worked the vast majority of his life in the law enforcement profession, and he's done a lot of innovative things. And I met Joe. I admire him. I think he's an outstanding sheriff. I think he tells the truth, and he's been under siege. You know, the federal government, I mean, if we're truthful, they've gone after him on numerous occasions. And one of the things he's done too is he's enacted, you know, policies that enforce laws against like illegal aliens that are causing crimes, you know, in that jurisdiction. Politically correct solutions are not enthusiastically embraced by some of our federal counterparts, and subsequently, you know, he has been really assailed by federal authorities. But why does he prevail? Because he's an elected sheriff, like these guys up here, and he stands for the Constitution. He does the right thing, and he is a guy who serves the people. And he's not too interested in what bureaucrats at the federal and state level think about him. He just does the right thing. Now, one thing too is he enforces the law. And he does things like, now we did adopt one of his techniques. We tried the tent city thing, but because of Title 15 and 24, California has a lot of rules that we can't really incorporate some of his strategies into our regimen, you know, in our respective counties, because we have more rules in California, believe it or not. But we did use one of his techniques. We were losing a lot of underwear being stolen, so we dyed the underwear pink, just like he did. And now we're not losing our underwear like we had and saving the money. And I heard him talk about that story, and he said, you know, the feds, they went after me because I dyed the underwear pink because they're stealing the underwear. The taxpayers were losing money. And he does things like he only gives the inmates 2 meals a day, and one of them's a cold cuts. And, you know, when they talked about, well, you know, the tents that you house these people in, you know, is 120 degrees in the summer. He goes, hey, and some of us who've been in the Middle East, you know, hey, our troops over there, you know, it's 125, 130 degrees overseas, and our troops are eating MREs, so why can't these guys eat cold cuts and have one, you know, hot meal a day? So, and I can guarantee you, all these great sheriffs up here, including me, probably would be a Joe Arpaio clone if it wasn't for that Title 15 and 24. But I think that all the sheriffs up here embrace Joe Arpaio's philosophy of, hey, you know what, I serve the people, I do what's right, and I'm not too interested in what others think about it.
I'll tell you what, I really applaud you guys up there, because overall, good constitutional sheriff. What's wrong with taking these prisoners out like they do these con camps and put them in and let them do some work out in the woods out there where we do some good work and clean up the off-falls where, you know, like right now, these waters, they need to be cleaned up. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with putting them there to do that work? There's nobody else wants to do that.
Well, I know, and you know, that's great. It's a great point to put them to work. We in Humboldt County, I put out 3 to 5 crews a day doing projects throughout the community. I have a contract with Caltrans. I put out 2 Caltrans crews a day, and they'll be the ones working alongside the highways. But we also have other crews that we utilize for projects throughout the community. And interesting enough, they've been so successful that the city of Eureka and some other private groups are now hiring our crews. So there's money coming back to the sheriff's office for these crews to go out and work on these projects. And Fire Safety Council out of Willow Creek extensively uses our crews for brush cleanup, and we've got a lot of accolades through that. So we also have a wood project where we cut firewood for seniors and sell it to the senior center at a cut rate. I think last year we put out somewhere in the vicinity of 1,500 to 1,800 cords of wood through our program. So we do make them work, and believe it or not, most of them enjoy it. Getting out of the facility, getting out and doing some hard labor. They're not forced to in the sense that we shackle them and put them in the striped jumpsuits. Many of them are out there voluntarily. They want to do that kind of work. One of the problems that we are having is, I call them our SWAP crew, Sheriff's Work Alternative Program, is we've seen a decline in those sentenced to swap. So we've really been pushing the DA's office instead of dismissing cases and saying in the interest of justice we're not going to prosecute. Don't send them to jail, send them to my SWAT crew. We've got programs out that they can work on and give back to the community. Don't just dismiss these cases in the interest of justice. Let's get some teeth behind it, and people realize that if you're going to violate the law, there are some consequences. So that's something we're really pushing for, Mike.
I just want to ask Mike, you just tell them to go out and do all this work and come back, or do you have to supervise them?
We have an officer.
That's why I don't do it. I don't have enough people to watch them while they're in jail, legally. I would love to, if I could get some staffing. I would love to do it.
My name is Steve Bradford. I don't think this thing's working right. I have a little statement to make. First of all, Sheriff Lopey, we in Siskiyou County support you. I think you know that. Most of us do anyway. We have a welfare state in Siskiyou County that is probably the biggest problem for not having the support that Sheriff Lopey really needs, like the sheriff in Arizona, or the sheriff Wilkerson in Josephine County. These sheriffs have 100% support from their citizens. And when the citizens back the sheriff can go to the feds and say, take a hike. But they're not going to stick their neck out until we support them. That's why I'm here from Wairika to support our sheriff. Also, the rest of these sheriffs who are standing up to the country with the Constitution. Our Constitution is not working in our government any longer. We are under a corporate government. You know, and the state is under a corporate state. It's not run by a constitution. And we don't stand a chance. All of us are gray hairs, well, most of us are all gray hairs in here. We're the ones who have the problem. We had let this problem be formed in the last 40 years. We were looking for our RVs and our retirement, thinking that it was like what it used to be when we were kids, when we could trust our government. But we turn around and we can't trust our government any longer. We have a fight. We are at war now. I am at war. That's why I'm here. it makes a... I'm at war. I'm afraid of myself to go up in the woods and cut wood and have that, he said it, SOB in my face about cutting wood right now. Because these guys are coming up here, we've had fires up in our Siskiyou County, and these guys are coming up here from Fresno trying to tell us, well, you can't be up here on this road right now. And, you know, these guys are acting like they're law enforcement, and they're what, forestry? You know, just fresh out of school. So, you know, we've got to support our sheriffs so they can help us do what we need to do, and that's take our country back.
Yes, sir.
This man, Sheriff Downey, just said it a minute ago. He's coming up with innovative ways to handle what's been brought down to them. And that's what's always happened in America, in the United States, is when we've had a problem, is we've dealt with it, we've handled it. But now with this constant looking for the handout, we don't deal with it anymore. We don't take it home and deal with it in our own living room any longer. Well, we'll let them deal with it. What are they going to say? And I hear this all the time. We can't afford that any longer. We've got to deal with it in our own living rooms, in our own towns, and take our country back. Please, please, please. Thank you, sir, Sheriff.
Thank you. The next topic I'd like to talk on is what we're seeing in Siskiyou County and all of our counties, especially where we have BLM or National Forest, and that is the risk and the threat of wildfires. This is something that I've done a lot of research on, especially in Delaware County. The problem that we have is the federal government is taxed with the watershed management and timber management of their federal lands. They are not responsible for public safety. They have no obligation to provide for public safety. In Delaware County, the land management plan adopted by the National Forest Service for Delaware County says that under their fire safety plan, we should be averaging 70 tons per acre of fuel on the ground. That's standing and anything that's brushed on the ground. In Delaware County, like most of the counties up in this area, we are looking at 210 to 240 tons per acre right now sitting on our ground. Over the past 10 years, just natural growth is over 300 million board feet in Delaware County alone. Over that same 10-year cycle, between die-off and harvesting, we have removed less than 3%. So what that means is the amount of fire fuel left on the ground is creating a dangerous situation in all of our Northern California counties. Why? Because those that are charged with the management have no responsibility to public safety. That rests with the state and with the county. Constitutionally, public safety rests with our counties and with our states. When you have that much fuel load on the ground, it's only a matter of time before we see the devastation in Delaware County, what we're seeing already in Siskiyou County. And the net result is watershed damage of a huge proportion when those timbers are burnt and the rains return and the muds begin to slide and the damage gets shoved down into those rivers and tributaries. It's all preventable. They've done it in other counties, and those counties are held up as models to be followed by the department, says the Department of Interior. And all it requires is that you take the plans that are already approved by NEPA and CEQA for the Six Rivers National Forest that says you're supposed to have 70 tons per acre, and you go into the forests and you manage those forests to the federal government's plans, and you begin reducing the amount of fuel in our counties, and thereby reducing the danger to our communities. But the other thing that happens is you begin to then take the wood out of the